All right, folks, please have a seat. Please have a seat. Let's move up to the front, fill in the front. Let's have a seat so we can get started. Let's go. All right, y'all, it's not that difficult to find a seat. Let's go. I hope it's not like this on graduation. Jeez Louise. Let's have a seat, folks. Plenty of seats up front. Let's go. Fill in. Hurry up. We already late. Let's go. Austin Bernadette, find a seat. Find a seat, sir. Find a seat, Austin. We're still standing up. Keneal, why are you standing up again? Have a seat, man. Have a seat, man. Sophian, you're still walking around, man. Find a seat, sir. I'll start calling y'all out. Matthew Stewart, what are we doing? What are we doing, Matthew Stewart? Let's find a seat, sir. Senior, Matthew Stewart. Mr. Hasty, what are you doing? You climbing over seats out here? That's how seniors do? Find a seat, man. Keneal, you're back up? What's going on? You're back up? All right, good morning, everyone. All right, good morning, everyone. All right, we're gonna try one more time. Good morning, everyone. That's a little better. Keneal, you finally found a seat, that looks like. Settle in, settle in. All right, folks, so thank you all for coming. Thank you for your undivided attention. Thank you for eventually finding a seat. Again, I hope it looks a little bit better at graduation than this, but we'll make it happen. Welcoming place for our students and staff over the past few years. Whether you're a student with exceptionalities, whether you come from a different country, whether you're just a quirky person, you can find your niche here at Bunnell. And we really appreciate you all, the student body, for making that happen. Our student leadership groups, there's so many of you that have stepped up and done great things. So many of our student leaders who have just led this charge to make this place a more welcoming place for all students. And I hope you all feel that, all right? We've worked hard to make that happen, us as a staff, but most of all, you student leaders have really worked hard to make that happen. So we hope you feel that. Clap it up for our student leaders. All right, so again, we're here for our No Place for Hate panel. We're going to hear from a very diverse group of students about what their experiences here are at Bunnell and what they'd like to improve and what's going well. No Place for Hate is a national organization, and again, we've been recognized nationally for our hard work to make this place a more inclusive school. So we're going to give it up for our two student leaders who have led the charge. We have Chris Malin, Medina Diaz, clap it up. And Simone Good. They are our student leaders from Inspire Ed, and they will...
Welcome to the No Place for Hate panel. Today we are delighted for everyone to join us in this event.
We've brought together a panel of people of diverse backgrounds and experiences in a school setting. Some students represent neurodivergency through ADHD, some students are immigrants, and some identify as LGBT.
Each of these people have volunteered to express their experience, so please be respectful of each speaker. In addition to our wonderful panel, we also have a No Place for Hate pledge in which you all will sign after our discussion.
The pledge states, I will seek to gain understanding of those who are different from myself. I will speak out against prejudice and discrimination. I will reach out to support those who are a target of hate. I will promote respect for people and help foster a prejudice-free school. I believe that one person can make a difference. No person can be an innocent bystander when it comes to opposing hate. And I recognize that respecting individual dignity and promoting intergroup harmony are the responsibilities of all students.
Now to introduce our panel, for seniors, we have Crystal Anteo, Hejan Maynard, Zayla Rivera, Seth Lang, and Hadia Johnson.
Lydia Bomek. For our first question, it goes to all of our participants. How does your background affect your perspective on education?
So, how does my background affect my perspective on education? I'm first generation American, so in other words, both my parents are immigrants. My father is from an island called St. Lucia, and my mother is from the Dominican Republic. And for any Caribbeans out there, I'm sure we all know how they take education important, basically. So growing up, education was strictly enforced in my household. My father even has a story from when he was in school in St. Lucia. Every week, they would line up the students in the courtyard, and the principal would walk up and down a line with a ruler, and the kids would have to stand in line with their knuckles face up, and they would just walk down the line and just go to a random student. What's 7 times 12? And if you got it wrong, bow, right on the knuckles. And basically, in the Caribbean, they just strongly enforce education, and that kind of transferred into how I was raised in my household. So I remember I would be at my grandmother's house on weekends, and I would be doing homework at my grandmother's house while all my cousins would play outside. And I would be in the living room with my father. he would help me with my homework. And I remember one time specifically, the ice cream truck came, and all my cousins were outside, and the ice cream truck came. I wanted to go outside and eat ice cream, but my father said, do your homework first, ice cream will come later. And just moments like that really started my work ethic at a young age, and I think that just goes to show how much they cared about my education. Another perspective on education I would have, I'm from Bridgeport originally. I went to a charter school called Achievement First Bridgeport Academy. It was a predominantly minority school, mainly like blacks and Hispanic students. And coming to Stratford during the 6th grade, the school was predominantly white. So that was kind of like a cultural reset for me. And I feel like, my perspective on education is different, coming from a mainly minority charter school, coming to like a public, majority white school. So that was definitely a perspective I had to gain a new perspective.
I grew up in a very hardworking Puerto Rican household, so my whole life, no matter what it was in, I grew up with my father working 2 jobs, so from the very beginning, I just knew that if he could do it, having to take care of 6 kids, while also maintaining a family life, that the least I could do for them is at least do my hardest in school and make sure I get the best grades as possible and be interacted with my school. And just my dad grew up in Puerto Rico where the curriculum of school isn't that great. And so to hear about the stuff that they learned in 1st grade versus what we learned in 1st grade is very different. So for me to be able to have this curriculum and be able to come to Stratford because my family worked so hard to get here makes me just strive harder for all of my goals, even in the future, now, past. It's just, why would I not strive to do my best when my parents have worked so hard to get here from where they grew up with nothing?
Yeah, so for me, I would probably easy to say, just having opportunities and just education that my parents that were immigrants never had the chance of having, and even their parents before them. And it's honestly just a great privilege just to have it for myself, and I know my parents worked really hard for it.
With my parents, they're both immigrants from Guyana, so growing up in a somewhat strict Caribbean household, education was always very important, so they really stressed that with me growing up and my younger sibling. So because of how they grew up, the education system again was different. So I feel like it's a privilege for me to even have that I have here in America. So with that being said, I try my best to do my best in school, because again, it is a privilege. So I feel like that gave me a more positive outlook on education and made me want to do better in school.
I grew up in a Bengali household, and education is very important in our family. It's mostly with all brown parents. They want their kids to do really good in school. So I grew up needing to get my grades up high and having good grades. Brother, I always have to grew up like that. And yeah, that's it.
So I grew up very with a lot of leniency. I wasn't expected to do great big things. I think my parents just really wanted me to get good grades, graduate, do very basic things. And to express myself. Yeah, what is that? And I don't have a lot of input on this since I grew up in Stratford with my pretty well-rounded family, and I was very privileged to have that, and I didn't experience those struggles that other students experienced. So that's just my perspective on it.
Next question is targeted to Hadia and Crystal. In what way do you feel supported in school?
The teachers around me, they were always really supportive. Like Dr. Khan, like even the little bit of times that she would like speak to me, it was really nice that she would like compliment me and like say like, oh, your hijab looks so nice. Like those little like bits of compliments really like helped me throughout my junior year. Sorry, my junior year.
I think I feel supported in my community with our schools. Like, we have a lot of clubs and a lot of activities and things that we do that give everybody a place to go to speak. We have so many teachers that are willing to talk and hear you out. And I think that's like my favorite thing about this school is our teachers and how much they care, and the people are willing to hear you out and create that community for you. I feel mostly supported by Miss Alisea and Miss Hall, who have shown me so much love and have always supported me.
This question is for Hezron, Seth, Zayla, and Crystal. How has your school climate shifted in your time at Bunnell?
I feel like this is an obvious one. Most of us being seniors in here, I'm sure we all remember like the pandemic era, like 2020, 2021, I would say like early half of 2022. My experience, like the climate shifted from everyone being kind of hidden and shy and timid, hidden behind masks. People weren't really as communicative. The pandemic was like a social reset where a lot of people kind of lost a lot of those necessary communication skills. Versus now, where I'm in my senior year, and I feel like I can speak on most seniors' behalf. A lot of us now, what I've realized is we're a lot more comfortable, we're a lot less judgmental. I think it's because we all realize that we're on like the last ride, so let's enjoy it together. Senior year has been really unproblematic, from at least from what I've seen. Everyone's being respectful. Everyone's kind of blossomed into their own like individuals. Everybody's confident versus 2-3 years ago where people were scared to say that they were present in class. So that's a huge shift in social change. And I feel like, yeah, just me being here these past 4 years, I've seen a lot of social shifts.
I would agree with Hezron. My freshman year, I wasn't involved in any clubs, and I know there was no one else involved in them. And throughout my 4 years, the school has definitely gotten more involved, and our clubs are a lot bigger, and there's a lot more people joining them, and we're also adding clubs, like Seoul Pacific Islander Club. There's a lot of change within everyone being involved in the school. Like, I wasn't involved at all until junior and senior year because I had a group around me junior and senior year to actually really enjoy school and be involved in it. So I'd say it's like now with all the clubs and like all the staff support, I feel like it's a lot easier for our community to change and grow.
No, but definitely, I would say that I totally agree with Hezron. Yeah, because of the pandemic, I felt like as a whole student body was shied away at first, but as Ayla said, with the clubs, we were all in things like the cultural showcase, other activities such as sports. We were all kind of united again, and we are all different, many different types of backgrounds, but we're all the same.
So I think our climate in our school has been progressively, like what Hezron said, since quarantine. We've been way more social. I remember in quarantine we all sat separately and nobody talked to each other. It was very like, most people describe it as isolated. It was very like, nobody talked to each other. And every year I feel like I see, especially with all the new freshmen coming in, everybody progressively getting more and more social and joining more and more clubs. And I feel like now is at like its peak of everybody being social and clubs, and I feel like there's not as many cliques as there used to be. Like it's very like all the friend groups are kind of spread out and everybody's kind of connected, you know? It's not so separated.
We also have another addition to our panel, Junior Jordan Pierce. Our next question is targeted to Lydia, Seth, and Jordan. In what ways does your home climate affect your success at school?
Repeat the question?
In what ways does your home climate affect your success at school?
I would say that it makes it really stressful because being the eldest daughter puts a lot of stress on me to succeed because I don't have anyone to learn from because my parents like graduated like 28 years ago. So like I have really no experience and no guides in my family to go off of. And yeah, I guess I'm a role model for my brother. So just doing well in school is really stressful on my end because like, especially after moving here last year, like it made it 10 times more stressful because I needed to get used to the new school ways after moving here from New York. So it's a really stressful time, especially going into senior year next year.
Growing up, my dad was always on me for my GPA, so he's really instilled me to do my work and get good grades.
For me, I would probably say that I kind of do feel a little bit of the pressure and like, yes, like the stress, most likely due to like my parents not having, or my family not having all the opportunities in education, and I would kind of just be the first person in my family to actually go and be attending college, and that for me is just very high pressure, but I'm just very excited, I guess.
Our next question goes to Seth, Lydia, and Hadia. How does Bunnell demonstrate representation of diversity?
One thing was the cultural showcase. I personally really enjoyed it last year and this year especially because I was in it this year. It was so fun to see all the different types of cultures being represented, and I got to learn so much about other countries and their traditions.
I would say would be with the clubs, like Living in Color. It's not just like one group of people in that club. It's Black people, Hispanic, white, like all are included, and the things that they talk about in there, it's just really impactful, and like it just shows Bunnell's diversity.
No, yeah, I like to say that I totally agree. If it was this culture showcase and all the great clubs, and also the classes that we also have here in Bunnell, if it's Black and Latino studies and other classes too.
Next question is to Crystal, Jordan, and Hezron. Has there ever been a time that you felt afraid or unsafe at school?
So there was like something that happened 2 or so years ago where a friend of mine had a bit of a mental crisis, and I think that the way the situation was handled could have been touched on, could have been handled a little bit better. I know we have certain policies, protocols that need to be followed when things happen with students, but I think that sometimes when people are having problems, it might need to be handled a little differently and touched based on, because I felt unsafe for her being in that situation with her, and so that was just one time, but
I would say a whole era I felt unsafe in school was definitely back in Bridgeport, which ranged from like 4th grade to 5th grade, because in Bridgeport middle school starts from 5th grade to 8th grade. So I'm gonna say middle school, but I'm not talking about Flood, I'm talking about Bridgeport middle school. But basically I got bullied a lot, growing up for being, I guess I had an annoying face, and I was what you would call like an easy target. I was like chubby, but I got picked on a lot, especially in elementary school, and I constantly felt unsafe. That's actually why me and my family moved here to Stratford. It was to escape that. It was a great school. The curriculum was awesome. Looking back, like hindsight, like the classes were advanced, but just the students were horrible, and I constantly felt unsafe at that school. Like I would get teased, I would tease the kids back, but only I would get penalized for some reason. I remember I had detention like every day in 5th grade. I even had detention on my 10th birthday. So like I came home and like my family was like, "Oh, happy birthday," which is kind of crazy, but that's kind of what I had to deal with, being bullied a lot in school. I got into fights, and by fights I mean I would get slapped and then the kid would run away, and then I got in trouble, which is crazy, but that was just an era where I constantly felt unsafe. Yeah.
No, I really never felt unsafe in school.
This question is for Lydia, Zayla, and Hezron. Do you have a staff member that you would feel safe opening up to, and are they similar or different to you?
I have 2 teachers that I feel safe opening up to, Miss Alisea and Miss Garamachia. Miss Alisea has always been there for me, and she understands me because she also is Puerto Rican, so she also understands my cultural struggles. And I've told her so much, and she allows me to come to school and be able to, and know that I'm able to open up to someone if I need to. Same thing with Miss Garamachia. They're both great teachers, and they're always there to listen to anyone who goes up to them, even if it's someone new. They're just very open and caring.
Contrary to what Zayla said, there are teachers in this building where I feel comfortable opening up to, but do I do it? No. There's the guidance department. They're excellent at what they do. Kids go there all the time. Kids open up to them. That's kind of their job. There are a lot of teachers that are not in the guidance department that I would personally feel like opening up to. Some examples like Mr. Barron, Mr. Jockel, Miss Holden, Mr. Ramos, Mr. Dawson. Typically teachers that I conversate with, and teachers that I had good grades in their classes. But I wouldn't just go in the hallway and just walk up to a random teacher and just start trauma dumping. Yeah.
Alice. I feel like ever since I moved here last year, she's the one that I've gone to most often. And of last quarter when I did have civics, Mr. Barron, he was really nice to talk to. So yeah, Miss Alice mainly, she has been the best and understanding me and my struggles.
Next question is to Jordan and John Crystal. In your lens, what is one way that students typically interact with one another in a positive and respectful way?
So I feel like students typically interact with each other pretty positively, especially with the seniors. I feel like we're all very we're all pretty good with each other. I can say for sure that at times people can be rude or mean, it's just school, but thankfully these days most people do passive bullying where they don't say things to your face. They'll say things behind you. Just saying. This passive bullying, I feel like goes kind of unseen compared to a lot of other if nobody's coming up to you and being saying mean things to you, it's passive. So I feel like that's the only thing that's really negative is that area of how we are socially. But I feel like we're all pretty good with each other, being respectful to each other for the most part. Occasionally people act up, but we're good.
I feel like, honestly, every student interaction is a positive interaction. You don't just walk down the hallway and see someone get shoved into a locker. I feel like that's only something you see, that's something that's emphasized on, and portrayed in film and media, but that doesn't really happen in real life. I would say there are a lot of positive interactions within students. If someone sneezes and you say, bless you, I feel like that's really positive. Or if someone drops something and, you pick it up, or if you're sitting, hey, could you put my calculator in slot 15 for me? I feel like these are all really positive things, but more specifically, there are a lot of culturally inclusive clubs, like Men of Color Leadership Group. It's not exclusive to Men of Color, but it's a leadership group where it provides a safe and vulnerable space for you to open up and kind of conversate with people with similar backgrounds as you. Same thing with Student Organization of Latinos, same with Living in Color. Yeah.
I would say most of my interactions have been positive with MOC and Mr. Ramos and the football team.
We're going to finish up with the last question. This is going to be for everyone on the panel. What is one word that you would use to describe the social climate at Bunnell?
I would say growing.
I would also say growing.
Unpredictable.
I would probably say unified.
Outgoing.
Diverse.
I would also say unified.
All right, clap it up for our panelists. Woo! All right. They did a great job. Listen, not easy to stand in front of the whole school. We have the senior and junior class here, but also every other person in the building is watching, streaming on Advance. It's not easy to get in front of everyone and be vulnerable, talk about your life experiences, talk about your struggles. Please give them one more hand clap. Thank you. Also, want to give a round of applause to our two amazing facilitators, moderators, leaders, Chris Malin and Simone. All right, at this point we are going to have this, everybody wait and listen to the director.